So now we want to bring in Mayor of Key West to Florida, Teri Johnston. She's joining us now. So very glad that you are joining us, Mayor. So we've been paying a lot of attention to the West Coast sort of Florida, that's where the storm's going to hit. But it's going to pass by you guys as well. How are residents sort of preparing? What are you warning them to do? Are you asking them to leave?
Yeah. Well, we don't have a mandatory evacuation order in place either for our residents or for our visitors, but we have been preparing as a community for the last 2 days. Our residents have been boarding up their homes, putting up their hurricane shutters, making sure that they don't have any materials in their yards that could become a flying projectile in high winds. They've been setting in their supplies of water and food and medicines, and they have been preparing. As a city, we have been moving our non-essential vehicles to higher ground. We've been cleaning out all of our stormwater drains, making sure that our backup systems are ready so that as we take water onto our island, we're able to move it off quickly. And we are taking the necessary preparations. And we always prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah, so Madam Mayor, for our viewers who are either in Key West or who have family members in Key West, what do you want them to know about should things get tricky? I mean, I know, as Anne-Marie points out, that you're not right now in the direct path of the storm, but things can happen, things can change, and flooding can occur at any time. So what should people be keeping in the back of their minds if they find themselves in a sticky situation?
Well, first of all, keep up on the weather. As you mentioned, storms can change radically in direction and intensity. So make sure that you're keeping up on the weather. We're going to have some localized flooding, and we're in the middle of king tides right now, which accentuates that flooding. So make sure that you're not going out on flooded roads. We've got some low-lying areas here. If you're driving on the streets, you're most likely going to flood a low-lying property. So please have respect for other citizens. Also, we have opened up a hurricane shelter here in the city of Key West at Key West High School. So if you are a vulnerable resident, and by that I mean if you're a liveaboard, if you're in an RV or a trailer and you feel the need, we have a hurricane shelter open at Key West High School. So please proceed there for a level of safety.
What do you say to people who go, listen, you always say that it's going to be bad. I've weathered these things, and they go through the list of hurricanes that weren't that bad, that maybe aren't taking this seriously.
Well, I will tell you that because we do have some people who get complacent, and there is no room for complacency, especially when you're dealing with storm surge. We build to 180 miles an hour here in the city of Key West, and we have for years. But water is a completely different animal. It has a force, unknowns to man. So please do not take this lightly. Do not take storm surge lightly because it can do a lot of damage. So pay attention to the news reports, listen to a credible source, and make sure you're staying in because we have high winds right now. We have localized flooding. We're going to have some branches down. We're going to have some power outages. So please, if you can, stay in and shelter in place.
All right, Mayor Teri Johnston, thank you very, very much for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.